Hey guys, so this past weekend I finished 13th place at Waterloo Regionals with branded Dogmatika Invoked Eldlich, and I almost finished top 8 if I won that final round, but it's okay, I'm still very happy with the outcome. So as requested, I thought I'd provide an overview of my matchups, what I might change with the deck list, and I thought I'd also show you a couple Dueling Book replays just to show you how this deck works. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So I actually already showcased my exact deck list as well as the basic combos for this deck a couple of weeks ago, so I'll link that below, so please go check that out. I'll just showcase my list here briefly but won't go into any detail, and in terms of what I changed, honestly nothing. It worked out really well. Now usually the first thing you want to change after an event is your side deck, but I honestly used all of my cards in the side a lot except for the Necroworld Banshee because I only went up against Flunder once. So again, I'm not going to cover any of my reasonings for my card choices in this video because I already did that recently, so make sure to check that deck profile video out if you're interested. So let's briefly go over my matchups at the regionals, which was 8 rounds and the cap was 256 players, which I think we hit. And if you want to skip this part and go straight to the DB replays, go right ahead. Now round 1 was against Branded Despia, where I did win the die roll, but turn 1 I actually somehow got Nibiru'd, and that's because I already used Mecha's Negate when he tried to crow my Golden Lord. I was still well in it and had control with Skill Drain and Eldlich cards, but I decided to get greedy and try to go for the OTK and got rid of my own Skill Drain with Eldlich, but then I forgot about his Snow in the grave that would block an attack, so he killed me the turn after. In game 2 I went first again, but he Twin Twisted my anti-spell and I didn't have much other than that, so I did die there. Now round 2 I lost a die roll against Flunder, which typically is not a good matchup for this deck. Now despite going second, I hard opened Zombie World, which is fantastic against Flunder, and slowly but surely I was able to start breaking things and he wasn't able to build much back. In game 2 he actually made me go first, and while he did clear my back row, it just wasn't enough and I took the win. Round 3 I lost a die roll versus Sky Striker, but he makes me go first anyways, of course. I don't remember too much about this other than the fact that he was slow playing like crazy, and that ended up costing him because in game 3 he summoned all these bodies and he had enough for game, but time was called in the main phase, so I did win because I had more life. And then round 4 was against Brave Eldlich, where I again lose the die roll and go second against Brave stuff along with Solemn Strike and IDP. I start with just some sets, and when I decided to go off with Alistair later in the game, I solemned his IDP and took things from there. Game 2 was a grind where we were just trying to banish each other's Golden Lords, but I did eventually take things there, and turns out he knew my ratios because he saw my deck profile video, so good game Jeremy. Now round 5 was against Branded Despia, where I lost die roll again, but my Impermon Aluber was enough in game 1 and I took things from there. I did lose game 2, but in game 3 I had Anti-Spell Fragrance and it was just too strong and I took the win. Now round 6 was against Brave Despia and I lost the die roll as usual, and it actually ended up being a crazy game 1. He made a huge mistake where he forgot to activate Faithful after right, and he also only had one card left in the extra deck after resolving Prosperity twice. Just when I thought I was going for game, his last set was Super Poly, and his last card in his extra deck was Dragostapelia, and he won there. Game 2 I had Skill Drain and won that, and game 3 I don't remember too much, but I believe I even lead him and took things after a grind. Now round 7 was against ABC Brave Therian, piloted by Matthew, who was the one that was undefeated in Swiss at YCS Hartford. He unfortunately bricked both games despite going first, and especially in game 2 I had a nutty hand where I had Dark Ruler and Evenly, along with Alistair and Branded Fusion and Ecclesia, and I just OTK'd him. So now at this point I'm 6-1, 1 win, and I'm in top 8 for sure. Now I go up against Brave Despia and lose die roll yet again, and game 1 I still actually almost win, but sadly he ashed my Sanguine, and then he also had the cross out for my Branded Fusion, so he won there. Game 2 I had Anti-Spell, but he Twin Twisted it right away, but his other target fortunately was the Sanguine, so then I can activate that. And then he tried to fuse with Albaz, but I pop it with the Conquistador and I take the win. In game 3 he sets up a nutty board and has Lancia on top of that, which was really unfortunate because I had double Evenly and Dark Ruler in hand on top of Meltdown. It got a little weird though because after admitting defeat, we realized that he actually couldn't attempt to activate Mirror Jade's effect under Dark Ruler because he was under his own Lancia, which I also gave him access to Branded Fusion for next turn because he sent the Albion Dragon, but it's okay, I think he would have won anyways. Alright, so that was it for the tournament report, so let's just go over a couple of Dueling Book replays so that you know how this deck interacts. And this first one's going to be against some Eldlich deck, and I'm actually going to fast forward it for the most part because it ends up being a really long grindy game. So for turn, we actually draw pretty well when you have Meltdown and Branded Fusion. Essentially, we do get Imperm, but it's okay. So we're going to just bring out the Lubellion, and we'll also go Chainlink to Beast. We'll get to draw, which we draw the Invocation. We did also send the Golden Lord as cost. and we have that window. So I'll pause here at this moment. Basically, I had the option of going into Mechaba by banishing Lebellion and Alistair, but because we only have one special summon, I decided to instead bring back the Golden Lord, and so that I have a live conk. I thought maybe that might be a little better option depending on what he was playing, because I don't know at this point. When he starts with the extravagance at this point, I am kind of concerned because usually it's a control deck that plays out where Winda isn't going to be as impactful. And here we go. So it is an Eldlich deck. He's going to get the Golden Lord and he's going to send my Golden Lord. I will crow his Golden Lord though, so it's just going to be a battle of trying to banish each other's Golden Lord. But fortunately for me, my deck isn't just Eldlich and I have other things aside from that. We're going to go into Lina, but unfortunately it gets torrential except for my Golden Lord that's protected at the moment. He's just going to try to protect himself with the conk. Main 2, we do have the Ecclesia, and we'll just get the punishment just so we can try to pop some more cards, but he has his own punishment, so he's going to end his pop that set because he knows the other one's Sanguine. So we're just going to go with Curse Ellen yet again, get the Golden Lord, and he's going to send my Golden Lord. So now he brings his other one out, so just a battle of back and forth, just constantly coming back, traditional zombie style really. And so now end phase, he's gonna pop, or not pop, rather, set the Sanguine. He's gonna use the Sanguine, but he doesn't actually have any targets at this point. He negates my Branded Fusion, which was a really good top deck at this point. He's bringing out the Golden Lord, so I'm just gonna, you know what, bring my own Golden Lord. I was just constantly trying to banish his Eldlich with Invocation, so I can go into Mechaba. He does banish my Alistair with Okero, which eventually will help me because now I can just, like, if I can get Invocation to the ground, I can get access to that Alistair again. So he just bunch of sets. At this point, we're just, you know what, Eldlich beatdown, it's fine. And so we set that in perm. He's going to just keep trying to bring back Golden Lord, as I will do as well. And he's going to attack over my smaller one. So now for turn, we have the Albas, which ain't bad. So now we're going to use Golden Lord, send that Invocation. And now I can get that Alistair back, as I alluded to earlier. And then I can just normally get that back. So really, I didn't lose anything. So we're going to crash and just try to poke with the Alistair for the 1000. Magistus try to go into Mechaba by banishing his Golden Lord, but unfortunately he has that summon limit, and he's just gonna keep trying to bring that Golden Lord back, and he's trying to go for game because he pops my Magistus, which is kind of a waste, just really committing resources there, and I'm just gonna bring out the Wakero to block one of the attacks. Now Fallen of Albas, I mess up here. What I was trying to do is trying to go into Mirror Jade and banish his Golden Lord, but then of course there's the summon limit. I'm like, oh shoot, okay, I can't math. That was already 2 summons, so unfortunately that's a bit of a misplay there. So he's gonna attack over my Albion Dragon. I do have the Sanguine and also in end phase. I'll get the Branded Fusion, but it's not live because I only play 1 Fallen of Albaz. So we're gonna just bring our Golden Lord and just keep attacking that way, and we'll attack with our smaller boy. And so he takes it all. It's a grind, and we're just setting that conk. Golden Lord time again. He's going to bring his out and try to attack over my smaller one, which I do allow. Then he's going to set one, and this Sanguine will set the Wakero. Golden Lord, we're going to try to bring it back. We knew that Wakero is coming, so we'll try to attack over it, but he also has another punishment. Attacks over. So now at this point, he goes into Phoenix, tries to protect, or rather try to pop. I am perm. He's triggered Sanguine because otherwise this column will get negated, which I still do have the Ash. So now at this point, he still has the Golden Lord, and so now he's going to attack first with Phoenix. So now when he attacks over my Golden Lord, I will use the Conquistador to block that attack, which means I have 100, and I also have the Golden Lord engraved that I can bring back and just attack over his Phoenix for game. So it's going to be pretty crazy. So he does concede there. So now we're just going into game 2, and he actually makes me go first. I was a little curious about that. So we do have a good hand, but we're just gonna go second because you know what? We have evenly matched. It's just deadly against Eldlich, banishing those cards face down. So we'll just get rid of a few cards, and then we have that meltdown. So triple Alistair in hand. Definitely not what you want to see, but you know what? It's there. Branded Fusion. So we're gonna send the Golden Lord because we're going second, and I do side out that beast. Well, at least I thought I was going second. So I bring out that Mirror Jade. He's just gonna set one and pass. We're gonna go into Magistus. He crows again. But whatever, like, I can just go into my Alistair that way. And then just, I have a normal, so I just do it again. And he just doesn't defeat there. So let's go into the next one. Okay, so for the final replay is against ABC Brave Therians. So we are, fortunately, going first. So we'll start with the Cursed Ellen, and we'll get the Golden Land. So at this point, this is more of like a Dogmatika Eldlich kind of playstyle, set 5 or set 4 rather. So that's sort of what happens with this deck, right? Basically, you know, you play with whatever engine you draw, and sometimes it just ends up being really back row heavy. Sometimes it might be like Mechabo, Winda, and some hand traps. So in a way, you know, it can make it a little challenging to side for some decks, because if the back row and the Winda affects them, they have to sort of side a little bit of monster negate and back row hate, or maybe just more like focus on one strategy. Anyways, he's doing some ABC, not much of ABC stuff really, just going to Access Code and Therian. Fortunately, he only has 2 cards that he can pop with, so I am still alive, otherwise this would have been OTK. So now we're gonna bring that Golden Lord. He is gonna negate that with Regulus, really forced to, otherwise I'd attack over it, and we can set some Golden Land traps. We do have to shotgun these pops, because otherwise you can't respond. We do have that Ash, and then it's our turn for the top deck on that. So we'll just bring out the Mirror Jade and the Golden Lord as well, so that we can just bring it back and special and attack. So now game 2, we are of course going second, and so our opponent's gonna start with this Colosseum. I do Ash it just in case he does have the machine, so that he can just start negating things. But he does have the right as well, so now he has the brave stuff. So he has the token and the equip, but oddly enough, that's how he passes, so clearly he didn't draw too much, kind of reminiscent of my round 7 matchup against the same deck at Waterloo Regionals. So we're gonna Prosperity. I always really just do for 3 for the most part. He's gonna bring out the Griffin when I Nadir Servant, that's fine. The token is what I'm trying to pop, but he will protect that. And then with the talents, we're gonna basically, he had Droplet and King Regulus, and I just spun back to King Regulus. So we're just gonna set some pass, and we're gonna pop that token before he can start bouncing things. He does have the tries to access right, but on the end phase we're gonna trigger that Ash Dragon, just to get that Ecclesia, and then get the Fleur. And then this is kind of important actually, you have to trigger Sanguine after that, because otherwise you're locked into summoning zombies, so you don't want to mess that order up. So our turn, we're just attacking with just Ecclesias and Golden Lord. Unfortunately, you can't summon out the Fleur because you don't have monsters in the extra monster zone, and I also use the punishment, so I'm locked out of the extra deck. So that was super fast, but I do take the win there as well. Alright guys, so that was it for the Waterloo Regional recap. Let me know if that was helpful. The deck has been a lot of fun honestly, and I'm glad that I was able to do well at a regional event. As always, a big thanks to my Patreons, Eileen Dice Queen, Bold Spider, Cybernetic, Brandon Jern, Barrel Lord, Spooky Boogie, and Gridora for the support. I'm very lucky to have you all. Take care guys.